And here we are, still at the Silver Screen Festival, the Geek Speak show. You heard him on the show, now you actually get to see him as well as hear him. Jorge Marrero, who's one of the busiest people here. He's been running around. We're trying to get him, and we've got hopefully a few minutes now with you.
Yeah, I think so. They can handle it now, right?
Yeah.
They don't need me now.
Yes, so it just started as we're recording this. I know it just started, like I said. How do you think so far? It's the third time, but second time here in Santa Rosa.
Yes. And you know what? It doesn't get any slower. It just keeps on getting bigger and crazy. It's amazing, honestly. You know, when you first get in, that first like 20 minutes before anyone's in here, and you're like, that lull.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, I'm prepping. It's going to be okay. And then all of a sudden you see that crowd come up the escalator. And little by little, it's just swarmed. You know, to the point where you're up against your back's against the wall.
Yeah, I've never done one of these, but I imagine it's that feeling where, yeah, it's almost the time to open and nobody's here. It's like, is anybody going to show up?
Yeah, there's just a little bit of that nervousness.
Yeah.
But then when they come up, it's just like, it's a different nervousness because now it's like claustrophobic, and it's your adrenaline's pumping, and you're like, oh my God, like everyone's here now. Like,
yeah.
well, you know.
Now they're here, now can we entertain them now?
Yeah, and it was so wonderful seeing like Neil and Phil come up the escalator with the ladies, our heroines of horror, and get ready to cut the ribbon. And I was like, oh, this is it. I'm so excited right now. Like we had a chair in the background. I had to kind of climb it so I can manage to get like a picture of everybody, and it was so cool. Like, I feel like a little kid again when it happens.
Yeah, now we talked a little bit on the show when you came on, but it's all done by Famous Monsters of Filmland magazine, and it goes way back. And we mentioned on the show, Luke Skywalker himself grew up reading this, so if he tells you to read it, you should. But I mean, to you guys who are part of it and who put this on, what does it mean to you guys that you are able to do it for a third time now?
You know, it's a beautiful responsibility to have. You know, to be able to usher in new films with the classics, you know, to our community. You know, like all of us are at home watching these films, you know, in our snuggies late at night, and it's nice to be able to go out with people that you know appreciate it as much as you do, you know, in the masses. So it's like having a family reunion every year. You know?
Yeah, and what I love about it, it is a film festival. It's got a convention atmosphere also, if you will. But what I love about it is that the films are, we celebrate Night of the Living Dead, but there's also independent and new filmmakers getting the chance to show their movies on the big screen, a lot of times for the first time. So to me, that I love seeing that.
Yeah, most definitely. And I've been talking to all the indie filmmakers as they come in. You know, I try to meet and greet them, make sure that they got here okay and that they're enjoying everything. And one of the short films I was talking to, who did a film called Secret Eater, they shot the whole thing on an iPhone. And they were just telling me, it's like, oh yeah, the person who did our sound editing did it like in a day. And it's like, hold on, you're telling me that you shot it on a phone. You did most of your editing in like a week, and then a person did the sound in a day, and you didn't edit that. They just kept it as it is. And you got into a film festival. It's like, that's crazy to think that. It's like, it's not like the Kevin Smith days where you had to have like a handheld camera that you're propping up on your shoulder and you're running around in your local corner store. It's like, all of us can be filmmakers now. You know, it's all of us have that accessibility to be a part of something like this.
Yeah, on the show, on the Geek Speak show, we talked to J.J. Abrams on the big ones. They say that that there is literally nothing stopping you. Those of you who want to be a filmmaker, there's nothing stopping you. Like J.J. said, you have a camera right here in your pocket. Yeah. So there is nothing. So those of you who are wondering, well, how do I get my film out there? Start shooting.
Turn your phone on. Yeah. And point it. And they're on their way to doing it.
Yeah, and I mean, I haven't seen the new iPhones, but I understand the editing stuff is like almost like the professional ones out there. So there's nothing that stops you from doing a film.
For sure, yeah. There's no excuse nowadays. Honestly, everything's at your fingertips. Yeah, it's amazing to seeing what people can do with so little. You know, I think that's like the mind-blowing thing. Is when you start to hear exactly how everything is put together. You know, you think it's always these big bells and whistles, and you find out it's like, oh no, it's just a few clicks, you know, and a head blew up. Yeah. So it's really cool just discovering like how everything is put together.
Yeah. Now, when you were on the show, we started talking about Living Among Us and those. We got excited about that because we can't say that word, that other vampire franchise. But every time we have somebody from Famous Monsters, I always ask them this question. I forgot to ask you because you were talking about the festival. But, I mean, there's so many horror films, and there's so many iterations of horror, different genres, different everything.
For sure.
To you now, what makes a horror film to you?
Oh, wow. Put me on the spot. Yeah.
No spotlight, but yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, it's that sense of how much you can pull me in to the world you're trying to create. You know, so it's like, no matter how, like, let's say I'm going to call out The Mummy. You know, none of us were into that movie this year, you know. And it's because I felt like they didn't bring us in. They didn't invite us into this world that they're trying to build for this new creature. You know, I feel like you got to have your world be in a place where, like, we want to be a part of that. We're curious. We want to learn more about it. You know, no matter how scary, how bizarre, how out of this world it is, if you can't make that setting inviting for us, then just stop there.
You're talking about the new one, right?
I'm talking about. I use that as an example.
Well, I'm saying that's a really sad example because that was the goal. They were going to build a universe around this, and didn't work.
Yeah, you know, and for me, that's an example. But don't do that.
Yeah,
you know. So for me, like, I'm a huge Nightmare on Elm Street fan, personally. So if you guys have seen the Freddy statues over here, I'm all about that. And it's like the dream world. It's like that could be anything. Yeah, you know, that's a blank canvas of opportunity. So for me, it's like no matter what they pump out for that film, before the remake, of course, you know, everything with Robert Englund in it. It's like I'm in it. Like I'm feeling. It's like we're in a dream. What can go wrong? You know, in the process of telling the story, of course, everything can go wrong. You're gonna get killed by Freddy, but you know, I just feel like that's for me. Like,
spoiler alert.
It's my go-to of like that's how you kind of get someone to jump into your world. You know, make it accessible. You know.
Yeah, and we'll close it by bringing it right back. See right there what he's saying. You don't need big budget special effects or anything. Get your phone out. Create the world. It can be anything. So, Jorge Marrero, again, thanks a lot. Before we go, tell them where they can find everything Famous Monsters.
You can go to famousmonsters.com, or you can check us out on Facebook at FMOFL, and also on Twitter and Instagram at Famous Monsters.
And there you go. Thanks a lot, George.
Thank you.